Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. It's Friday. It's August the 2nd. This will be our chart lesson today. It's late Friday afternoon. It's 4 o'clock, and I'm just now getting around to doing this. So I'm going to probably move through this one pretty quickly today. But it really is just another trading range day. You know, there weren't a lot of big moves that happened very quickly. Even the traps took a while to work out. They did. Most of the trades worked that we saw, but you just had to be patient and work through them. And it really was a larger trading range, and we had two levels to it, and I believe they are perfectly. I think they're a perfect measured move, to be honest. So there's the top part of the range, and then you can see there's the bottom part of the range, and it's a perfect measured move. So it's just like a two-level trading range, with this being the lows and this being the highs. We really struggled to get back through 1700. Then we tested a few times, and then we made a measured move. And that's kind of typical of what you expect. So starting off, it looked like a two-level trading range. Once we came back to here, until then, it looked kind of like we'd broken out of this trading range and we're heading lower. So you really had to follow these range rules. We had a failed, actually there's a two-legged pullback right here to the EMA, and so that's a second entry short. Easy scalp. They came back, no runners. They came back real quickly. And then you had a failed second entry long, so that's a trap. Chance to go short right here. You had to hang tight. Again, it worked out with no problems. And we made a double bottom here. We went a tick lower, but that's usually a stronger double bottom than an equal one, because they trap so many people, and that surges the things far. But we had a little break here and here, really a break there, and then two legs down to a new low, and then we reversed. Or you could have just looked at it as a double bottom, a trading range, and hey, now we're probably going back up to the high side. You really could have entered down here. I'm going to go ahead. It is a lot of overlap, but that little tick lower creates that trap that we like to have, that's probably going to drive prices quickly higher. I will make this one in green because it's really aggressive. It's not the best setup. There's not a real good setup bar there. But that little trap, that little one tick lower, really helps. And somebody was asking, saying it was hard to find these spots on their chart. That bar was at 850. This setup was around 820 my time. This one was around 835, and these are Central Time. I'm on Central Standard Time, so I'm on Chicago time, just like the market is. So, but chance to get long there. Then the next setup was around 903 right here. There's a failed second entry short in there. Let's make this a little bigger. I get so many requests lately, people wanting me to do different things, and sometimes I can remember to do them and sometimes I can't. But notice this, we got a new low and a new high. First entry short, second entry short, it failed. That's a trap. That's what we like to see, and it's a bounce off the kind of support area where I ended up looking at it today. This was one of the better moves of the day so far. Easy scalp. You could have gotten a little bit of runners out of this one back to this upper side, and then we found resistance here. I didn't like entering again till here. It was just really dangerous entering right in here. There was a second entry long right here, but with all that resistance there, I didn't like it. I didn't like the setup. If you took it and got trapped, you have to reverse here or exit. And that's a nice reversal bar, but you should have had your stop sitting there already. If not, drop a limit order in there, or go ahead and put your stop below that bar, and you see it backed up. Would have filled a one tick limit order right there, and it moved on down. It was real slow doing it, but it moved on down. But that's a failed second entry long. Notice the new high, pull back first entry long, pull back second entry long, and then boom, off to the races it goes. Actually, I won't say off to the races, but we're back down. Testing this part here, but what I did there was I drew this line off those swings there, and I drug it down just in case. It looked like it was going to bounce there, and then it went on through, and I'm thinking, okay, this is not valid But you can see this channel did turn out to be valid. We bounced off of it again, and it held at the highs again. So there's also a upward channel going here, but that's why you got to draw the short-term stuff, because sometimes you miss things. And but I drew a little channel here. I was tempted to go short right here. Actually, I did go short right here. I didn't mark it, but when this thing bounced instantly right here and closed like that, I just exited. I'm glad I did. A lot of times I would hang on to that, but this is strong support down here. Looks like a trading range, so you got to be careful. And regardless, you want to go long right here on that bounce. This is one where it didn't close quite on its high, so I'd use a limit order. It would have filled you. You had a couple of different options, and then off, boom, it takes off. And this one took off quickly, so when your runners were safe, and you could have ridden this up the rest of the day. You could have ridden this all the way to the close, to the very top, depending on how you played it. But then guess what? We got a first entry short. Let me get this out of the way. We're moving up, and then we get a second entry short that fails. So there's a long right there off a failed second entry short. Somebody else asked me about this setup here. I'm assuming we're talking about the same one. And theirs failed, but you can see this one did not. The entry was really on this bar, but after this second little trap, you really could have entered twice here or added on if you wanted. And by this time, it looks like a little breakout pullback long too, but it's the short trap that I really liked on this one. And this was the first break of that channel, so you figure we're going to go on up and make a new high. You don't know that it's going to go that much higher, but it should. Those traps should work. So this entry was at 11.20, and then boom, that was it took it a second to get going, but that's because there's resistance right there. And then your goal should have been thinking the other side of the channel. We get an equal move up, but you also should have noticed this channel. But then we hit the upper side again, and guess what? 2 legs down to the other side. And it was tempting to go short right there. If you used a limit order, I think it would have worked. 1701, and that went to work just to the tick. But you had to use a limit order there, because if you entered here, you can see from 1775, there wasn't enough room to get out before it gets to the line. So if you took that, but that's a failed second entry long again. Notice that new high, pull back to right here, a first entry long, second entry long. So that's a little two-legged correction, and then you figure another leg down here. It's going to be similar to this one, except your line's right in there. And you know, if you were really looking at it, you might have had your line even down here, or maybe even right there. And if you did that, you might have been more tempted to stay in this one. So if you did manage to get trapped in that setup right there, you know, you got to reverse when it breaks above that bar. And that's where, you know, I'm looking to, you know, I like the long right there. And this is one where you could use a limit order. You can see, even if you didn't get in there, it came back and would have filled it at least at the top of the bar, and then it comes back, and then there's a failed second entry short, so you can go long up here. And I traded late today. That's one reason I'm late doing this, because I actually entered here and then added on here, and it just took forever to go, but it went on up, and it really got slow and choppy in here. But you can see they were steadily working it up the whole way. And but that's what I saw today. That last trade, this trade triggered at 1336, and this one triggered at 1409, or actually that's your setup bar, but it didn't trigger till 1420 or so. Just before my, you know, cutoff for 230, and you know, I really had to think about that one. Boy, that trap, you know, I assumed we were going to come back and test this high, and that's what we did. We actually made a new high. So it's just going to take probably a little while to work through this 1700, and you can see we were working on both sides of it equally today for the most part. And that was what I saw today. You know, make sure you draw these short-term trend lines, and there was one coming down through here. You could have drawn it like that. I originally drew mine about like that because of it was acting as resistance here, and then it broke above and then acted as support, and you drag that up and you can see we got the break and then the move to the new low and then it reversed. So always draw your short-term trend lines, and even if you didn't do anything but try to follow this first move down like that, you can, that's going to hold prices too. And we got the break here and then a move to a new low, so it would have got you there either way. And that's generally how the market works. So, but anyway, it's late Friday. I'm going to wrap this up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and hope you had a good week. Hope you're off to a good start this month, and we'll come back and do it again tomorrow.